Hey, welcome. So, when you think about getting your products from China, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Is it those huge container ships, slowly making their way across the ocean? Or maybe it's super fast but super expensive cargo planes. Well, today we're going to talk about a powerful third option, one that's seriously changing the game for a lot of companies: trucking. Let's get into the ins and outs of China road freight. Here's a quick look at what we've got on tap. First up, we'll tackle the classic shipping choice that every business has to make. Then, we'll introduce road freight and why it's the sweet spot solution. After that, we're diving into the details everyone wants to know: how long it takes and what it costs. And to wrap it all up, we'll look at the incredible new Silk roads that make all of this possible. All right, let's jump right into our first section, the China shipping choice. Honestly, this is a headache anyone who imports from China knows all too well. It's a classic dilemma, and it's been shaping global logistics for, well, decades. And it really all boils down to this one simple but frustrating question. Do you want it fast or do you want it cheap? For years and years, it really felt like you could only pick one of those, and that meant making a really tough compromise for your entire supply chain. And here's how that trade-off usually plays out. On one side, you've got air freight. It's incredibly fast, no doubt about it, and perfect if you have an urgent shipment. But the cost can be absolutely astronomical. On the other side, you've got ocean freight. It's the undisputed champion of low-cost shipping, for sure, but you're looking at weeks, sometimes even months of waiting. So what do you do when you need something that's, in between?
Well, that question leads us perfectly into our second section, and the solution we're here to talk about. Let's introduce road freight, what many in the logistics world are now calling the sweet spot that solves that age-old problem.
So what is it exactly? Well, to put it simply, road freight is exactly that middle path. It's a shipping method that's all about giving you a strategic balance, the speed you need without the crazy cost of air, and the savings you want without the long wait of ocean freight. It's that flexible middle ground. So why would you actually choose it? Well, the benefits are pretty clear. It's way cheaper than flying your goods. It's much, much faster than putting them on a boat. And here's a big one: it's often more flexible, especially for that heavy or weirdly shaped cargo that's just a nightmare to ship by air. Plus, the road connectivity across Asia and Europe has never been better. Okay, so that all sounds pretty good in theory, right? But for any business, theory doesn't get the job done. The specifics are what really count. So that brings us to Section 3, trucking transit times. Let's get into the real numbers and see how long this stuff actually takes. This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, you've got to manage your inventory, you've got to hit deadlines, you need real, reliable numbers. So what kind of timeline are we actually looking at here? Get ready for this. To truck goods from China all the way to a major European hub like Germany, we're talking just 14 to 20 days. Just think about that for a second. That means your inventory could be on the shelves weeks, not months, earlier than if you use ocean freight. In today's market, that can be a massive advantage. And that speed isn't just a one-off. It holds up pretty consistently across the continent. Look at these times for Europe and Russia. You can get to Russia in as little as 10 to 15 days, or Poland in 12 to 18. And yeah, as you go further west to places like France or Spain, the time goes up a bit, which makes sense, but it's still an incredibly fast alternative to the ocean. And if you think that's fast, check out the times for destinations closer to China. For Central Asia, it's even more impressive. We're talking just 2 to 5 days to get to Kyrgyzstan and only 3 to 7 days for a huge country like Kazakhstan. For these landlocked nations, this isn't just an option. It's an absolute game changer. All right, so we've established that it's fast, but speed is only half of the equation in any business decision, right? So let's move on to Section 4 and talk about that other critical factor, the price tag. What's this actually going to cost you? So the first thing to know is that there isn't just one single price. The final cost really comes down to a few key things. For starters, are you booking a full truckload, or FTL, where the whole truck is just for your stuff? Or are you shipping a smaller amount, what's called less than truckload, or LTL? And of course, how far it's going and the actual weight and size of your cargo play a big part too. To give you a concrete example, let's go back to that popular China to Germany route. For a full truckload, the estimated cost looking at 2026 projections is somewhere between $5,500 and $8,500. Now, when you compare that to what it would cost to fly a whole truck's worth of goods, the savings are just massive. And this table gives us an even broader look at those 2026 estimates for a full truckload. You can see really clearly how the cost scales with distance, from just over $1,000 to get to nearby Kazakhstan, all the way up to $9,000 for France. This gives you a really solid financial map of what you can expect to invest for your key markets. So we've covered the time, we've covered the money, but you might be wondering, how is all this even possible on such a huge scale? Well, in our final section, we're going to look at the incredible infrastructure that's the backbone of it all, the new Silk Roads. It all really starts with China's unique geography. The country borders more than a dozen other nations, which gives it this unparalleled land-based connection to the rest of Asia and from there on to Europe. This strategic position has really allowed it to become a true global hub for road freight. And this isn't just a few random roads. We're talking about massive, coordinated investments. You've probably heard of projects like the Silk Road Economic Belt or the Belt and Road Initiative. These aren't just highways. They are incredibly complex international corridors, networks of roads, ports, and logistics hubs, all designed to make trade faster and more reliable than ever before. Okay, so let's tie this all together. When should you actually think about using road freight? Well, this right here is basically your checklist. If your stuff is time sensitive, but you just can't stomach the cost of air, if you're shipping something big and bulky, if you're trying to get to a landlocked country, or, put simply, if you just need that perfect, reliable balance of speed and cost in your supply chain, then trucking is an incredibly powerful tool to have in your playbook. The big takeaway here is that road freight from China isn't some niche, fringe option anymore. It's a serious, mainstream contender in global logistics. And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. With its unique blend of speed, cost, and flexibility, could it be that the future of global trade is actually riding on 18 wheels? Thanks for joining me.